Looking Good Santa Barbara is a program that has long promoted beautifying our city. Up next, we'll tell you all about the history and the significance of the program.
Santa Barbara has a long and well-deserved reputation for its beauty. But there have been times in the past when conditions in the city didn't exactly live up to that reputation, like the late 1980s, for instance.
It was grocery carts that were literally everywhere, and especially in the downtown area. And I felt that really created blight.
In 1988, the City Council received a report that revealed the city was spending over $1 million a year keeping public facilities clean, yet conditions were still unacceptable. Council responded by appointing a Blue Ribbon Committee to develop a program to clean up problem areas as well as promote public awareness and participation.
There was an interest in inspiring people in Santa Barbara to care about their immediate neighborhoods and to realize that they could do something to make them, improve them, whatever they were. You know, they might be great, but they could be made even better.
Our major concern at the beginning was the Andre Clark Bird Refuge. The bird refuge was a kind of a dump for people's trash, and we got some docents. We printed brochures, we handed them out, we put up signage, and that was the beginning of Looking Good Santa Barbara.
They developed a program starting off in parks, adopting parks and things of that nature. They found graffiti in their parks, and they started a program related to that. They also did some fundraising and went out onto the railroads and worked at the Morton Bay Fig Tree.
Looking Good Santa Barbara provided a way for citizens, community groups, and businesses to turn ideas of a cleaner city into reality.
It's a city effort with city staff, and we work with citizens and we work with businesses to beautify the city, clean up graffiti and litter, and work on issues to improve neighborhoods.
One of the early accomplishments initiated by the Looking Good Committee had to do with something we take for granted today.
Up into the 60s, people used to burn their trash in their backyards. Lots of people did. And there would be, in the morning, with a temperature inversion, there'd just be a black cloud over Santa Barbara. And then environmental legislation came along after the Oil Spill Clean Air Act and so on. And regulations required that stop. You know, we had to clean up our air. And it was important to have the trash picked up so that it wouldn't be found, you know, scattered on the streets, and so that people wouldn't burn it any longer.
Today we're required to have our trash picked up, but that wasn't always so. The Looking Good Santa Barbara Committee started these discussions and worked with staff to implement an ordinance where we're now required to have that trash picked up and keep our city clean.
Looking Good Santa Barbara also tackled the biggest challenge to a cleaner city: funding.
The first step was the Friends of Parks and Recreation, and that started because Parks and Recreation saw a real need to have a nonprofit, a 501c3. 501c3 had not been one of the things the department had, and they went ahead and did that. That gave them the capability to do fundraisers and to funnel money into projects that were not funded.
Another strategy employed by Looking Good Santa Barbara, the Adopt a Block program, aims to clean up neighborhoods and get residents invested in their community.
And basically anybody in the city can say, I want to adopt my block. The city will support you by giving you free cleanup supplies, and that can include a broom, gloves, trash bag, a graffiti cleanup kit. It just depends on what the person's interested in.
Looking Good Santa Barbara also holds an annual community cleanup, which typically sees up to 500 volunteers.
We do these big community cleanups, and they're very family oriented, so we have parents coming out with their kids, and I'll talk to people, you know, weeks, months after the cleanup, and they'll be like, boy, my kid is still counting graffiti and we're reporting it to the hotline.
Over the last 16 years, nearly 8,000 people have volunteered at these cleanups. The estimated value of all that donated time is close to $500,000. The response to the cleanups was so positive, Looking Good started a program that gave youth groups the opportunity to clean up neighborhoods for money.
And they'll come out on a Saturday, they'll do a cleanup for 3 hours and earn funds towards their program.
We'd get up bright and early on Saturdays or on Sundays and go around the community and pick up trash, and most people were not aware of how much trash there was. And it's a good feeling knowing that you actually got out into the community and cleaned up and did something.
And while the community cleanups and Kids That Care program are classic win-win situations, the benefits for both parties go beyond money and cleaner neighborhoods. They have become powerful tools for education.
When we have a big cleanup, what we do is we have clear bags, and we talk to people about all the things that go in their blue bin go into these bags, and also all green waste goes into those bags. So when our staff comes to pick up that trash, they can see it in the clear bag, and they know exactly what it is and how to sort it. So because of our city priorities, we take it down to the level of the people, and when we work, we're still incorporating those priorities into the work that we do.
I have now become definitely involved at work and leading our recycling program at work, and we recycle everything now, and I also use it at home. Definitely at home we recycle everything now, including batteries. We do the e-waste as well, computers, everything. And also at school I've been incorporated as well as getting rid of plastic and any paper cups at school and having the students bring their own reusable bottles.
Graffiti has long been one of the most stubborn problems for cities across the nation, and until 2005, Santa Barbara was no different. What began that year was an innovative approach to graffiti that was the result of cooperative efforts by Looking Good Santa Barbara and city staff.
And we now have a truck that's dedicated to graffiti abatement, goes out every morning. You can call and report your graffiti, and our staff will go out there and take off graffiti from the public right-of-way. So anything that the city owns, we would remove it. If not, we'll call the proper agency. And we have an ordinance basically that requires graffiti to be removed from private property within 3 working days, and our staff works with owners of those residences to get that removed.
This bridge is a prime target for graffiti, and there is one of the men that works for the city must come quite frequently, because I walk across that bridge all the time. I'll see graffiti and I'll go the next time, it's gone.
So after 23 years, a program that began with a shared vision of a cleaner Santa Barbara has blossomed into something much more. Looking Good Santa Barbara has brought neighborhoods together and shown that sometimes the best educators are our children. It has proven the power of public-private partnership, and maybe, most of all, fostered pride in a community that has a lot to be proud of.
All those folks got out, and they didn't just say, let's do it. They rolled up their sleeves and they did it. And without remuneration for many years. I would say probably 10 years, it was just volunteer help. And I want to thank them because they made a big difference in this city. And I just think it's people who make the difference.
It definitely opened my eyes to the problem in Santa Barbara. I thought it was just plastic bottles. It's actually more than just that. I definitely learned a lot by getting in contact with my neighbors, with the community, and learning the different ways to keep our city looking beautiful.
Throughout the city, we see it's a repetitive thing. We come back to the neighborhoods, we're working on an ongoing basis, and over time we're making change, we're educating, we're teaching people that are becoming important parts of our community that are teaching their children. And so I think that's what the important part of this program is.
To adopt your block or to learn more about the program, contact Lorraine Cruz Carpenter at 805-448-0886.